judgment that there is no conflict. While the so-called religious issue
that were unsuccessful, we could have that is America's oldest brand.
Most of us know the basics about John F. Kennedy, the young and popular president whose life ended tragically. But what if there's more to the story than what we've been told? Beyond the history books lies a web of unanswered questions and mysteries surrounding his death. In this exploration, we'll dig deeper into the events of that fateful day in Dallas, uncovering hidden details and theories that might change how we see this pivotal moment in history. Join us as we explore the lesser-known aspects revealing what they never told you about the death of John F. Kennedy. The untold layers of John F. Kennedy's tragedy. The role of the President of the United States is undeniably risky, where the boundary between safety and danger is acutely felt. Across the nation's history, assassination attempts have tragically disrupted the leadership's duty. 4 times, leaders were fatally shot, while 2 others survived assassination attempts. However, not every sinister plan succeeded. Some firearms malfunctioned, bullets missed their mark, or bombs failed to explode. In most cases, hindsight provided closure. Perpetrators were identified, captured, and faced justice, except for one haunting exception. On November 22, 1963, John F. Kennedy, the 35th President of the United States, was assassinated while traveling in a presidential motorcade through Dealey Plaza in Dallas, Texas. Kennedy was accompanied by his wife, Jacqueline, Texas Governor John Connally, and Connally's wife, Nellie, when he was tragically shot from the nearby Texas School Book Depository. Following the shooting, the motorcade rushed to Parkland Memorial Hospital. Kennedy was pronounced dead approximately 30 minutes after the attack. The unforgettable tragedy of President John F. Kennedy's assassination in Dallas on that fateful day unfolded before the eyes of numerous witnesses. Home movie cameras captured history from various angles, immortalizing the horror of that moment for future generations. However, even before the dust settled from that tragic event, and before all evidence could be thoroughly examined, a narrative emerged. It asserted that Lee Harvey Oswald, a former U.S. Marine with communist leanings and considered a societal outsider, acted alone in committing this atrocious act. His quick arrest, initially not for Kennedy's assassination, but for the murder of police officer J.D. Tippit soon after, added to the confusion. Investigations immediately delved into Oswald's background, uncovering fascinating details. His earlier defection to the Soviet Union in 1959 and his return to the United States in 1962, along with his support for communist Cuba, created a complex picture. These aspects hinted at potential motives tied to political disagreement, adding mystery to the unfolding story of the assassination. However, before the puzzle could be solved, Oswald's sudden killing just 2 days later by nightclub owner Jack Ruby added another layer of complexity to the investigation. This unexpected twist brought conspiracy theories into the national spotlight, sparking widespread speculation and a strong desire for a more profound understanding. The series of events linked to Kennedy's assassination and the aftermath created a complex fabric, heightening public curiosity and skepticism. The quick sequence of Oswald's arrest, his subsequent death, and Ruby's impulsive act amplified the confusion and the pressing need to uncover the truth. As investigations progressed, the focus widened beyond Oswald's actions, and conspiracy theories became entwined in the national conversation. These theories ranged from alleged ties to organized crime to suspicions of a larger political conspiracy, capturing the public's imagination and creating an atmosphere of speculation and doubt. The Warren Commission, established during President Lyndon B. Johnson's administration to investigate President Kennedy's assassination, reached a definitive conclusion in 1964. Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone. Their inquiry pointed to 3 shots fired from the Texas School Book Depository, where Oswald worked, with one of these shots causing Kennedy's death. Based on ballistic evidence, witness testimonies, and Oswald's known Marxist connections, the Warren report, presented a narrative of a lone gunman. However, the commission's findings didn't satisfy public curiosity. Critics pointed out apparent inconsistencies and potential oversights in the investigation, leading to widespread doubt. Important questions emerged regarding the path of the bullets and whether one person alone could have caused all the injuries sustained by both Kennedy and Texas Governor John Connally, who was also wounded. The gaps in the Warren Commission's report gave rise to numerous conspiracy theories challenging the idea of a single gunman. Doubts persisted about Oswald acting alone in the assassination, sparking speculations about the involvement of additional shooters or larger secretive schemes. Public skepticism grew, creating a lasting mistrust in the official explanation. Despite the Commission's comprehensive report, it struggled to alleviate the persistent doubts about the investigation's methods and the consistency of its conclusions. The many faces of Kennedy's assassination. The House Select Committee on Assassinations, formed in 1976, took on a significant mission: to review the original evidence related to President Kennedy's assassination. This re-examination was partly triggered by advancements in forensic science and new evidence emerging over time. By 1979, their conclusion challenged the findings of the Warren Commission, suggesting that Kennedy's assassination probably involved a conspiracy. The HSCA's claim was based on acoustic evidence that captured a police officer's radio transmission hinting at the possibility of a second shooter being present at the well-known grassy knoll. This new revelation raised doubts about the long-held theory of a single gunman, which was the cornerstone of the initial investigation. Even before the HSCA's findings, doubters of the lone gunman theory explored other possible suspects and scenarios. These included individuals from organized crime angered by the Kennedy administration's crackdown on the Mafia, disillusioned anti-Castro Cuban exiles feeling betrayed by Kennedy's inability to overthrow Fidel Castro's regime, and even factions within the U.S. government, notably the CIA. Some theories suggested that these groups might have seen Kennedy as a threat to their interests, whether nationally or personally. The list of potential suspects grew further. Some theories pointed fingers at foreign governments, using the context of the Cold War and Kennedy's foreign policies. Others proposed that Vice President Lyndon B. Johnson might have had motives to plan a coup d'etat. The Soviet Union and Cuba were also part of various theories, with speculation about their involvement due to the geopolitical tensions of the time and Kennedy's foreign policy positions. Each theory created a complex picture of possible collaborations and motives, ranging from intricate global strategies to deeply personal grudges. The mystery of Oswald's motives. Lee Harvey Oswald stands as the mysterious central figure in the Kennedy assassination, quickly branded the lone gunman by the Warren Commission. His intricate life and puzzling journey were a mix of contradictions. A former Marine who defected to the Soviet Union, only to return disillusioned, his life contained oddities that appeared conflicting. His support for pro-Cuban causes clashed with his role as a father and husband, marked by instability and financial difficulties. His public altercation in New Orleans and the distribution of pro-Castro literature added layers of complexity to his already mysterious profile. Upon his arrest, Oswald vehemently denied involvement in the assassination, uttering a cryptic phrase that has since fueled endless speculation. His subsequent murder by Jack Ruby, broadcast live on television, deepened the mystery surrounding the case. Was Ruby's action an attempt to silence Oswald and prevent the exposure to a broader conspiracy? Or was it a spontaneous act fueled by personal outrage? The evidence against Oswald seemed strong. His fingerprints were on the rifle found on the 6th floor of the Texas School Book Depository. Eyewitnesses put him at the scene, and ballistics connected him to the recovered bullet fragments. Still, doubts persisted. How could Oswald, considered an average shooter at best, pull off such accurate shots? Disputes surrounding the notorious backyard photo of Oswald with the rifle fueled further speculation. Despite allegations of manipulation, inquiries consistently confirmed the authenticity of the photograph, contributing to the intricate story surrounding Oswald's role. Deconstructing the magic bullet. The story presenting Oswald as the only shooter encountered serious problems when people examined the details of the crime. The Warren Commission suggested the magic bullet theory, which said one bullet caused 7 wounds to both Kennedy and Connally. Many found this hard to believe because the bullet looked almost untouched. The path of the bullet and how many shots were fired were also points of disagreement. The Zapruder film, a key piece of evidence showing what happened, revealed Kennedy's reactions to the shots. However, different interpretations of his movements led to conflicting conclusions. The argument continued. Was it possible for Oswald to shoot all the bullets in such a short time with the precision seen in the assassination? The House Select Committee on Assassinations rekindled the debate by examining sound evidence that hinted at the possibility of another shooter. Additionally, Oswald's activities in the months before the assassination became a big focus. His visits to the Soviet and Cuban embassies in Mexico City, just weeks before the tragic event, raised important questions about why he went there. People speculated whether he was looking for support or approval for what he was planning, making the story more complex. The disclosure of the CIA's and FBI's monitoring of Oswald's actions before the assassination raised the idea that Oswald might not have been as alone as people first thought. This revelation added more uncertainty to how Oswald's role and connections were perceived, leading to speculation about possible outside influences or help. The combination of these intricacies, questions about the bullet paths, different readings of the Zapruder film, Oswald's interactions, and the scrutiny of intelligence agencies, wove a fabric of uncertainty that challenged the simple idea of Oswald as the lone person responsible, the grassy knoll conundrum. The idea of the grassy knoll remains one of the most intriguing parts of the story about Kennedy's assassination. This theory suggests that another person with a gun was behind a fence on a small, sloping hill in Dealey Plaza. They supposedly fired the shot that killed Kennedy. This theory is based on what people said they saw, heard, and photographed. It goes against the official story that says Oswald shot Kennedy from the Texas School Book Depository. Many witnesses said they heard shots from the grassy knoll. Some even claimed they saw smoke or flashes of light from behind the fence, which doesn't fit with the idea of one person shooting. The House Select Committee on Assassinations looked at sound evidence that seemed to support this theory. They said the sounds they heard matched with what you'd expect from a second shooter's position. However, later studies argued against these findings. They said the recorded sounds might have come from things like motorbike noises or echoes instead of gunshots. The Zapruder film and other photos from Kennedy's assassination have been analyzed a lot, but they don't give a clear answer about a second shooter. They're not very clear, and they show different views, leading to different explanations. People who believe in the grassy knoll theory talk about suspicious things in the pictures taken in Dealey Plaza. One photo, called the Badge Man, seems to show someone with a badge shooting a gun. Some say it's proof, but others say it's just shadows and light playing tricks. Another person, called the Umbrella Man, had an open umbrella near where Kennedy was shot. Some theories suggest the umbrella might have been used as a signal or even to hide a weapon. The way Dealey Plaza is set up adds to the idea of a second shooter. The plaza's design and how things are placed could make it seem like the shots came from a different direction than they did. The grassy knoll, with its fence and plants, was a good place for someone to hide and see the president's car without being noticed. Some stories after the shooting raise questions. Witnesses said the police stopped a man near the knoll, but then they let him go when he showed them Secret Service ID. But the real Secret Service agents were somewhere else at that time, making people wonder if someone was pretending to be a Secret Service agent, or if there were other people involved in the government who shouldn't have been. Unmasking the Mafia's role in the assassination. The idea that organized crime played a role in President Kennedy's assassination has lingered since 1963, blending historical facts with suggestive evidence that hints at possible reasons for mob involvement. Tensions between the Mafia and Kennedy's administration go back to the 1960 elections, with rumors circulating that the Mafia supported Kennedy to secure votes in crucial states. Despite these alleged connections, Kennedy's Attorney General, Robert Kennedy, led an aggressive crackdown on organized crime. This vigorous pursuit of mob figures could have been seen as a betrayal, possibly triggering a vendetta against the president. Additionally, the Mafia had significant interests in Cuba, before Fidel Castro's communist regime took over. The revolution resulted in major losses for the mafia, including profitable casinos and investments. Kennedy's failure to overthrow Castro in the Bay of Pigs invasion compounded these losses. Some believed that a change in the presidency might bring about a shift in foreign policy, potentially allowing the mafia to regain influence in Cuba. Certain theories propose that the mafia saw altering the presidency as an opportunity to influence foreign policy. This change could potentially open the door for them to recover their lost enterprises in Cuba. The idea that a new administration might favor policies aligning with their interests in Cuba could have been a motivating factor for the mafia's involvement in reshaping the political landscape through Kennedy's assassination. The potential involvement of key mafia figures such as Carlos Marcello, Santo Traficante, and Sam Giancana in various conspiracy theories about President Kennedy's assassination has been closely examined. These individuals not only had the means, but also the motivation to orchestrate such an act, given their well-documented animosity towards the Kennedys. Carlos Marcello, in particular, was rumored to have expressed a desire to eliminate the president. Sam Giancana's ties to the CIA, fueled by their shared interest in overthrowing Castro's regime, added complexity to the conspiracy theories. The mafia's strict code of silence and steadfast loyalty suggested that any role in such a significant event would be carefully concealed. Certain connections raised suspicions. For instance, Jack Ruby's links to organized crime were concerning. His killing of Oswald, viewed by some as an effort to silence the accused assassin and potentially prevent any mafia ties from emerging, heightened speculation. Ruby's unclear justifications for his actions deepened the mystery surrounding his motives. Additionally, indirect associations between individuals linked to organized crime and Lee Harvey Oswald hinted at the possibility of Oswald being a pawn or even a willing participant in a larger scheme orchestrated by the mafia. These subtle links between Oswald and elements connected to organized crime led to speculation about Oswald's potential role beyond being a lone gunman. David Ferry, a person with connections to both Carlos Marcello and Lee Harvey Oswald, died in mysterious circumstances before thorough questioning could happen. His death, along with several others, has been highlighted by conspiracy theorists as part of a series of convenient deaths, supposedly hiding the secrecy of a possible mob conspiracy. During its investigation, the House Select Committee on Assassinations recognized the likelihood of mob involvement. Even though direct evidence linking organized crime to the assassination wasn't found, the committee acknowledged that people connected to the mob had both the motive and opportunity to carry out such an act. The committee's final report emphasized the shortcomings in the methods used by earlier investigations to examine the potential role of the mob in this tragic event. Unveiling Political Machinations. The landscape of conspiracy theories surrounding President Kennedy's assassination is extensive and intricate, implicating diverse entities and motives. One theory points fingers at the CIA, citing Kennedy's displeasure over the Bay of Pigs incident and his efforts to limit the agency's power. Some suggest that discontent within the CIA led certain hardliners to possibly plan Kennedy's assassination, as they didn't agree with his policies. There are also speculations involving Vice President Lyndon B. Johnson. Some theories propose that Johnson might have been involved in arranging Kennedy's death to take over the presidency. While there isn't concrete evidence supporting this, people point to Johnson's ambition and strong political ties as reasons why such conspiracy theories might seem believable. Additionally, theories link Kennedy's assassination to the Federal Reserve. This connection revolves around Kennedy's alleged intentions regarding monetary policies, particularly Executive Order 11110. This order is seen by some as a threat to the Reserve's control over the money supply. Some interpret this as a reason why powerful financial interests might have wanted revenge, potentially connecting Kennedy's assassination to these groups. Critics of the official story often say that the Warren Commission's conclusion of a lone gunman is too simple. They accuse it of being a cover-up led by the government to hide the true complexity of the assassination. The subsequent sealing of investigation records and classified documents added to suspicions, fostering an environment ripe for speculation. These political conspiracy theories come from a wider context of mistrust in the government's transparency and accountability, especially during the tumultuous 1960s. They mirror the uncertainty and doubt prevalent during that time, capturing a public grappling with rapid social and political changes and a deep sense of loss after Kennedy's death. The CIA and FBI's controversial link to Kennedy's assassination. The CIA and FBI's potential involvement in President Kennedy's assassination has sparked a lot of talk and many different conspiracy theories. Both agencies, known for their spying abilities and high-level operations, have been under a microscope about what they did before and after Kennedy's tragic death. People wonder about their possible reasons for getting involved. The CIA, famous for secret missions and its history of being part of changes in governments, has often been pointed at by conspiracy theorists as possibly having a role in Kennedy's assassination. Things got sour between Kennedy and the CIA after the Bay of Pigs invasion. This made Kennedy lose trust in the CIA's abilities and trustworthiness. He also tried to reduce the power of the CIA and tried to talk peace secretly with the Soviet Union and Cuba. Some people in the CIA didn't like this because they thought it went against what they were supposed to do during the Cold War. To make things more suspicious, there were CIA agents in Dallas on the day Kennedy was shot. Also, it came out that the CIA was watching Lee Harvey Oswald when he went to the Soviet and Cuban embassies in Mexico City a few weeks before Kennedy was killed. The CIA not telling everything about Oswald and what happened around the assassination has made people think that maybe the CIA knew something or was part of what happened to Kennedy, or at least knew something bad might happen, but didn't do anything about it. The relationship between President Kennedy and the FBI, headed by J. Edgar Hoover, was intricate. Before November 22, 1963, the FBI had been keeping an eye on Lee Harvey Oswald since he returned from the Soviet Union. Additionally, they had received a warning about a possible threat against the president. However, the FBI quickly concluded that Oswald acted alone in the assassination, leading to suspicions about the depth of their investigation and their rapid conclusion. Critics argue that the FBI didn't thoroughly pursue leads or investigate potential connections, raising concerns that the Bureau might have been hiding its intelligence failures, or more darkly, its potential involvement. Theories surrounding the FBI propose that Hoover's animosity toward the Kennedys, combined with a desire to uphold the status quo against what he saw as the liberal agenda of the Kennedy administration, might have driven a cover-up of the Bureau's complete knowledge of the events leading to the assassination. Hoover's FBI was known for its secretive monitoring of political figures and its attempts to undermine civil rights leaders and activists seen as challenging national stability. This included efforts to discredit them. The investigation by the House Select Committee on Assassinations acknowledged that both the CIA and FBI didn't share important information and other agencies, which could have possibly prevented Kennedy's assassination. Although officially explained as incompetence within institutions and rivalry between different agencies, some people see this as potential proof of intentional obstruction. Forensic insights into Kennedy's death. The investigation into President Kennedy's assassination heavily relied on forensic evidence and ballistic studies, providing crucial insights into how the events unfolded. These scientific analyses both supported and questioned the official explanation presented by the Warren Commission, which claimed that Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone. Central to the Warren Commission's conclusion was the examination of bullet paths, particularly the controversial magic bullet theory. This theory suggested that a single bullet fired from Oswald's rifle caused multiple injuries to both Kennedy and Governor John Connally. Experts highlighted the alignment of the sixth-floor window at the Texas School Book Depository, where Oswald supposedly was, with the injuries sustained by the victims. This alignment was a key aspect of the theory. However, doubters questioned whether a single bullet could have caused such complex damage, hinting at the potential involvement of a second shooter. The intricate path of the bullet didn't seem to fit with the theory of a lone gunman, casting uncertainty on the official version of events. Forensic discussions also focused on the nature of the wounds themselves. Kennedy's head injury suggested an entry from the back and an exit from the front. which appeared to align with the Warren Commission's findings. Yet, this detail sparked debates and speculation, with some experts presenting alternative theories that challenged the conclusion of a lone gunman. The ongoing debate continues to grip the attention of historians and the public alike. Various theories and controversies are intertwined with this tragic event. Much of the discussion revolves around the direction of the fatal shot and the reliability of the evidence connected to it. At the heart of this discourse lies the Zapruder film, an iconic piece of evidence that seemed to capture Kennedy's head moving backwards. This visual peculiarity stirred discussions, hinting that the fatal shot might have come from in front of the motorcade, challenging the official story. Adding to the controversy was the notorious magic bullet found at Parkland Memorial Hospital. Its remarkably undamaged state conflicted with the expected damage if it had passed through two bodies and hit bone. This raised suspicions that the bullet might have been deliberately placed to conceal the actual events. During subsequent investigations, particularly by the House Select Committee on Assassinations, ballistic studies took a fresh look at the evidence. They raised the idea of additional shots, using acoustic analysis to propose that a shot might have come from the grassy knoll. However, conflicting opinions from experts emerged, disputing the interpretation of sound signatures and creating uncertainty. Advancements in forensic technology brought new tools to the investigation. Three-dimensional reconstructions and computer simulations attempted to analyze bullet trajectories and the positions of potential shooters. These reconstructions both supported some of the Warren Commission's findings and challenged them. While they confirmed certain conclusions, they also highlighted inconsistencies, further intensifying the ongoing debate and discussion. Forensic analysis didn't just focus on ballistics, it also involved examining the Zapruder film, autopsy reports, and President Kennedy's clothing. The locations of bullet holes in Kennedy's garments were especially important, giving vital clues about how he was standing and positioned at the time of the shooting. Differences between the autopsy findings and reports from Parkland Hospital added complexity to the forensic puzzle, raising questions and increasing speculation about the order of events during the assassination. In the pursuit of answers, a thorough investigation utilized modern technology to explore the forensic details further. Three-dimensional reconstructions and meticulous analyses of evidence were conducted in hopes of resolving. However, rather than providing closure, these efforts revealed more questions, emphasizing the ongoing enigma surrounding one of history's most tragic moments. Now, it's time for today's subscriber pick. Here is what they never told you about the death of John F. Kennedy. You see, the story about President Kennedy's assassination involves many complicated ideas, suggesting that different parts of the U.S. government and other interests might have been involved. These ideas propose that Kennedy's policies and decisions might have upset powerful groups enough for them to plan against him. One popular idea focuses on the military-industrial complex. Kennedy didn't seem eager to get the United States deeply involved in the growing Vietnam conflict. He also agreed to a treaty to ban nuclear tests. Some people think these decisions made defense companies and aggressive military leaders want to get rid of him. Kennedy also tried to ease tensions during the Cold War, which didn't align with the goals of some military and business groups driven by making money and following their beliefs. This made some people more suspicious about what happened. Let us know what you think in the comments below. The flawed anatomy of JFK's autopsy. The autopsy and subsequent medical analysis following President Kennedy's assassination stand as a pivotal point in the ongoing search for truth about the events of November 22, 1963. Meant to offer a conclusive account of the injuries and cause of death, the autopsy conducted at Bethesda Naval Hospital inadvertently sparked controversy, leading to enduring speculation and debate that has persisted for decades. The official autopsy report, considered a cornerstone of the investigation, described Kennedy's injuries as 2 gunshot wounds, one in the upper back, exiting through the throat, and the other, a fatal head wound. These findings aligned with the Warren Commission's conclusion, which attributed the shots to have been fired from behind, consistent with Lee Harvey Oswald's supposed position in the Texas school book depository. However, critics of the autopsy report have vehemently highlighted numerous inconsistencies and procedural irregularities, casting doubt on the reliability of its conclusions. A major point of contention revolves around claims of a rushed autopsy and the supposed lack of expertise among the pathologists involved, leading to concerns about potential oversights and inaccuracies in the examination and documentation processes. Those critical of the report argue that the autopsy was hurried, potentially resulting in crucial details being overlooked or inaccurately recorded. Dissenting voices claim that the speed at which it was conducted, combined with the reported lack of specialized forensic training among medical examiners, creates a breeding ground for skepticism regarding the accuracy and thoroughness of the findings. Additionally, criticisms have emerged regarding the handling and documentation of evidence during the autopsy. Critics have highlighted discrepancies in the descriptions of the wounds, their paths, and the management of crucial forensic details. These inconsistencies have led to suspicions of an incomplete or potentially tampered investigation, creating an atmosphere of doubt and skepticism regarding the official explanation. Eyewitness testimonies from medical professionals at Parkland Hospital in Dallas significantly differed from the conclusions outlined in the Bethesda autopsy report, adding to the cloud of uncertainty surrounding President Kennedy's assassination. These accounts described a throat wound as an entry, contradicting the Bethesda autopsy's assertion that it was an exit wound. The treatment of Kennedy's body and the subsequent chain of custody of the autopsy materials also underwent intense scrutiny, further raising concerns about the accuracy and reliability of the investigation. The suspicions surrounding President Kennedy's assassination grew when reports emerged about the inexplicable disappearance of his brain, a crucial piece of forensic evidence that could have provided valuable insights. The absence of this critical element further fueled doubts regarding the accuracy of the autopsy's conclusions. Upon re-examination of the autopsy findings, discrepancies emerged regarding the location of entry wounds, bullet paths, and the nature of the head injury. These inconsistencies challenged the Warren Commission's assertion of a single shooter. Medical experts, after analyzing the evidence anew, suggested the possibility that the fatal headshot might have come from the front, supporting theories of a second shooter positioned on the grassy knoll. The House Select Committee on Assassinations took a deeper dive into the investigation, bringing in forensic pathologists to re-examine the autopsy findings. Their analysis suggested a new idea. A bullet fragment discovered on the president's stretcher might have come from a missed shot. This finding hinted at the possibility of more shots being fired than what was originally reported by the Warren Commission. Additionally, their careful examination of photographic evidence and X-rays led them to conclude that there was a significant likelihood of a second shooter being involved. However, the work of the HSCA received subsequent criticism for relying on questionable photographic evidence and for not involving the autopsy doctors in the re-evaluation process. These criticisms raised doubts about the credibility of their findings. Despite these issues, the committee's efforts highlighted significant flaws in the initial autopsy and emphasized the urgent need for further investigation and examination. The numerous conflicting testimonies, missing evidence, and procedural inconsistencies have created a complicated web of uncertainty and fascination surrounding the Kennedy assassination. While subsequent investigations and reassessments aim to uncover the truth, they also expose the shortcomings of the original autopsy, perpetuating the ongoing search for truth and closure in one of history's most puzzling tragedies. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.